Welcome to the Business Shop Podcast, where our guests speak on meeting the challenges of entrepreneurship, as well as offer tips and advice on business, marketing, technology, and more. Whether you are a newbie or a seasoned professional, this episode is for you. I am your host, Audrey Wiggins. Let's chop it up. Hello, Chop Squad. It's great to be with you as usual on one of these sunny or snowy or windy days or sandy, depending on where you are in the world. And today we're going to chop with Anna Urnova. She is a career coach helping professional mid-career men. So go grab all the men in your life and let's gather around the microphone. To stop being stuck, undervalued, and burning out in soul-sucking jobs and successfully pivot to thrive without starting over or going back to school, and even if they tried many times before and failed. Now, on the other side of this message, you're going to come back and learn a little bit more about Anna and get into some questions. Knock out your competition with Altogether Marketing. We elevate your brand. Take a stance with your business name, logo, the tagline, your colors, even the fonts for your business. And then jab left with your website, jab right with core values. Back up with product experience and bring it on with you. Visit altogether.biz and let us help you create a knockout brand. We're back now with Anna. And Anna, before we started here, I know there's a couple of fun things or some accomplishments you want to share with us before we get started. What are those things?
Oh, thank you, Audrey. First of all, thanks for having me on your show. I'm really looking forward to the chat. Not every day you get to talk to Tech Diva, right? So I'm really looking forward to it. The fun fact, well, right now I have to say one of the fun facts is that I work with men being a woman. And somehow many people find it fun. They keep asking me, so why is it? They find it kind of triggers curiosity.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I have to say it is fun. And that's how it happened. I just started as a career coach overall. And after also pivoting myself from 20 years of corporate career and became a coach, having all sorts of clients. And then at some moment I had to specialize to scale, my practice, and which I'm sure your entrepreneur listeners would know what I mean. And then I had some strategic analysis done, and turned out that my sweet spot, the clients I most enjoy working with and who seem to be most value the outcomes and get most outcome of our work, were that sweet spot of mid-career corporate men, right? So men between 35, 55 in corporate who want to change, either change industries or geographies, or maybe become entrepreneurs and leave the 9 to 5 altogether, or having an exciting side project like a podcast or something like that. And basically then for over a decade now already, I'm developing this niche, and I'm working with mid-career men, helping them untap their potential and have a spectacular second act.
Awesome. And one thing I didn't mention earlier is that you're actually based in Berlin, over in Germany.
Absolutely, yes. But I work internationally. My clients are all over the world, including the US, Europe, UK, Middle East, and even Singapore.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that's one thing about technology today, that we can touch literally the globe. And so I really appreciate you being here and to share your expertise and what you do of helping men across the globe itself. All right, so let's get started and get into some questions so we can learn about just how we can can get to that one place or the other. So right out the gate, what are the key signs that indicate that someone is stuck in a soul-sucking job, and how can they identify it if it's time to pivot out?
Well, I would say most people know when they're stuck, and how it shows in my clients is, and by the way, I know there's a lot of women listening, and what I find that really a lot of women see their men, right, their brothers, their cousins, their husbands, right, stuck, and they really feel helpless to help. They're trying to be supportive, but unless a man makes a decision to change, really no one else can help. I just want to say that I really find that when we unlock men, the whole ecosystem around them gets better, starting from family, community, and all that. So the first sign usually is that they basically, the fire is not there anymore. They find themselves really out of vitality and the usual level of energy. They're not looking forward to their days. They are kind of dreading Mondays. That's the Monday dread, you know.
Ugh,
And it doesn't start on Sunday night, Audrey. It's first it starts on Sunday night, but then it's already
yeah.
Sunday morning. But then before they know, it's Saturday already is poisoned by thinking about work and what it's going to be back to work. So they actually end up missing out the whole family and fun time, dreading the work as well, right? So dreading of work, I would say, it's the first sign that shows something needs to change. Because
Wow.
Audrey, in the generation of our fathers and grandfathers and men before that, honestly, no one paid attention. They just soldiered through. But right now, men have so many more options, but a lot of them still feel they have to soldier through. And my message is the signs are common. Yeah, if you're over 35 and you're dreading your work, even after you maybe liked it for a while, right? You're dreading your work, you're not enjoying it, and you feel that your motivation, your fire, your energy is not there. Then it's probably time for change. It's not time for soldiering through, hiding the symptoms, and trying to do it for the next 20 years. Definitely not.
Right, exactly. So for someone, for some men that are experiencing this burnout, and what are the first steps that you would recommend to regain clarity and motivation for their career so they can make that pivot?
Well, first of all, they need to really get out of denial and accept that they're experiencing something that could be qualified as a crisis, right? And while a lot of men fear that, I would say the second step, first acknowledging, second step would actually identify it as an opportunity rather than a threat and something bad, like a disease that they have to, I don't know, somehow hide or deal with or whatever, right? So basically see an opportunity. So first acknowledge, second see an opportunity, trust that actually this door contains an upgrade. So the fact that you're not happy where you are means you want more. And guess what? There is a lot more available to you. And next 20, 25 years could be a spectacular second act that would surprise you, your wife, your kids, everyone around you, right?
Yeah.
Or it could be a drag and a torture, right? So your choice. So second thing would be making this inner choice. And then the third step, I would say, asking for help. Because what I found, I personally also had a quite severe midlife crisis, so to say, even though I'm a woman, but I had a very kind of masculine career in corporate. And I realized that the only step that kept blocking me for a very long time is my reluctance to seek help. I somehow believe, and as many of my clients do, that you have to figure it out by yourself entirely, the whole thing, before you even start. Allowing in help of an expert is the third step. And to be honest, Audrey, with these three first steps we described, it's already getting you on the right path.
How do you help us to, overcome the fear of making that career change? And I know we mentioned before in the intro, without having to go to school, or maybe maybe they want to get a new skill or something, but without having to
Yeah.
actually return to school to do something different.
Yeah. Well, there is a big assumption out there. So basically, if you want career change, you have to go back to school. You have to start exactly how you started your first career act, right? And that's just not true. Because what I find with like 100% of my clients, that when they actually feel they need new skills or they're lacking something, they completely undervaluing the actual value or skill sets that they already have. By the age of 35, 40, 45, or 50, that's the sort of ages of my clients. They have a ton. They've acquired so many experiences. They already have education or two or three, depending on how eager they are on learning, right? They all have certificates. They've attended training courses. They've had failures. They had wins. Yeah, they did sports. They had personal projects like kids or getting married or getting a divorce, unfortunately, or other things, right? So men come with a lot of, as we all, and by midlife, we come with a lot of baggage experience. And the temptation is then to say, okay, now it's all zero, I'll start from scratch. And that's what they all fear. And I'm just here to say that's not true. That's not what you need to do. What we do actually with my clients, I call it claim your gifts. We open all those suitcases and attics and cellars and everywhere where you stock all the stuff that you acquired, and we look at it item by item, and we basically finding the value in it, and a lot of things people don't even understand or had the time to register that they acquired as a skill set become their biggest assets. That's always, they all have undervalued assets, right? Which I
Yes.
call, which could be a skill set, which could be a certain way to pivot after failure, which could be a gift actually that never was valued by others. It could be something they didn't even know how to bring into work. A lot of them have untapped creativity. They're wildly creative, but they kind of left it all outside the corporate identity and all that, right? So we
Right.
claim those, we put value, and suddenly the same guy who was just about to go to school because he thought he had to start from scratch realizes he has 30 to 50 like assets, as I call them, or gifts, or I also call them golden reserve because I call them golden nuggets, right? That they can capitalize on right away without doing anything else, without acquiring new skills.
That's interesting because we do have a lot right here in our hands and we just don't realize it because we're so close to it and we're just doing, everyday tasks or activities and just going through our jobs, not realizing, like you said, that these are real skills. These can translate into real skills. Whatever they may label it in a textbook or in a classroom. So I thought that was a very important point that you made there. What are those strategies then that you use with clients to position themselves as value professionals on the same vein of what you're just talking about in a new field, even if they faced that rejection before?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, they need to really define what I call purpose, but basically it means like the longer term goal, and that would at the same time create meaning for what they do, right? Because a lot of guys, when they hit midlife, mid-career kind of crisis, derailment, maybe they got fired, maybe made redundant, maybe just got stuck, maybe there's no promotions, maybe there's a glass ceiling. There's a whole range of things that could go wrong, let's say at mid-career, midlife to signal crisis. A lot of them don't look beyond next paycheck and next job. They just kind of get very tunnel vision. It's like, what's my next job, right? And then what happens usually, they could get their next job, but then it doesn't make them happy again, even though it pays, right? So they usually, something doesn't work again. Again, there's no promotion, and they kind of get into the repeat loop of a stuck cycle, so to say, right? Which is, of course, is not good for anyone, and it could potentially cause burnout, and it does cause. If you stop and say, hey, what if right now I have this time because I've fulfilled a certain mission that I had until now, right? Because there's not just one mission on life, there's several. So I fulfilled mission of fact one, sorry, what so to say, and now I have to unlock my new mission, my new purpose. What are my 20 next years going to be about, right? What kind of life I want to live? This kind of takes a man to step back from his day-to-day life in a rut, so to say, and take a longer term perspective. But I find it's very, very important. It's like having the GPS about where you're going, because unless you have that, you just like wandering in the woods and you keep ending in the same place, right? So
Mhm.
that's what we do. We define this longer term goal. I call it purpose because that's what it is basically. And the key, the way I do it, the key sign that we found the right one for this particular man, wherever he is on that purpose, on doing things that are aligned to that objective, he has a rush of energy. He is energized. Or even when he's tired, like tired after work, but when this hits, when there's a call about that, when there's a program on TV about that, when he finds a book about that, when he gets to do his speech about that, suddenly he jumps and as if he never was tired. And every single man has something like that, and they all describe the stories about like, yeah, that I hate, I am tired, but this I can do like every moment of the day. I'm sure, Audrey, we all know how it feels, right? When you hit something that just naturally fuels your tanks and just makes you curious, makes you want to go
Yes,
and do stuff.
yes.
And I guarantee every single man has that. And when we find this true purpose, this true long-term GPS, the goal, it's always aligned to this natural energy. It becomes a natural energy source. Of course, the man still needs weekends and rests, and we all do. But imagine if your work is fueling your tanks, if it actually, by doing it, you get more energized, more hungry for more, right? Rather than the other way around. That's exactly what we try to do by finding this purpose, this longer term view that will actually be aligned to the energy, right? To the energy and natural flow of energy of this particular man.
So, what makes your approach different or effective for these mid-career men?
I find that this focus on energy is very important, because what I find with a lot of men is that, unlike women, actually, this is really different from women. Women are more natural, feeling the energies and all that. A lot of men, when they think about what they want to do next, they only think about it. They only use their head. And they try to calculate, will it pay? Second guess if they're going to be successful, second guess if it will sell, second guess if it, I don't know, be successful, provide the status, provide. So they all into thinking. Even when they say, well, I want to, for instance, like do something for sustainability, do something good for the world, a lot of them still thinking about it. Oh, someone else is doing it, so maybe it works for them, so I'll do. Even when they think about becoming a coach or mentor or someone, a lot of them, I don't say all, but a lot of them only use their head to calculate. So, and the problem with that is that they don't really know until they start if that would energize them, if that would even be interesting to them. And a lot of them, when they proceed like that with their changes, they get stuck, because guess what? After this kind of first shiny object syndrome went off, they just feel bored again, and they feel like, oh, it's just the same drag. I'm dreading doing that now. Right? And what I found, that it's really about overdoing your mental process and thinking it all should be thought through and figured out in your head, that gets men stuck. And when we and guess what? You cannot be energized in your head. That's not where the energy is, right? In fact, guys all describe symptoms like mental fog, mental fatigue, overwhelm, which are all kind of symptoms that their head is overdoing it. Whereas the rest of their body, which is also, this is where we feel energy, right? They are not utilizing. It's like redundant. It has nothing to do with it. Well, my method, I'm actually integrated through different exercises and proven to work, by the way. It's not woo-woo stuff. It's also worked in business schools, and I did a lot of research, and I read a lot of research, so it works. It combines both the logical process and the intuitive and the energy process. So when you find something you want, I teach them how to see symptoms that it's exactly what will energize you. So you will not make mistakes. You don't, because that's what the men don't want to do. No one wants to do it at mid-career. Risk everything and then fail, have a mistake, and then continue trial and error forever. No, you of course we will fail and make mistakes, but at least we want to know we're on the right path, right? So combination of strategy, method, and process to figure it out mentally, and at the same time also have take energy flow into account, and what energizes you naturally. That creates really a winning combination.
Yes, definitely. Well, can you share, Anna, give us a success story of a client who's transitioned from being undervalued in their job to thriving in their new career?
Yeah, absolutely. All the time have that. Well, for instance, there was a guy who shared with me. He got on my free call. He watched my masterclass, got on my free coaching call, and he shared with me that he really, really didn't enjoy doing his corporate job. He was not proud of the industry. In fact, he even felt shame of the industry he's working with. Working in. I don't want to go into exact industry, but he, because of his face, he did not. He felt he was not kind of aligned value wise to the industry, right? And he really had this dream to be entrepreneur, but he had already 3 or 4 failed attempts. So he was basically, he told me, this is the call where I'm going to decide whether I'm going to do it again or maybe stop, because money lost, energy lost, and at the end of the day, he felt fine, keep failing. We actually met through alumni group of a very good business school. He went for a course hoping they would help him, but it didn't. He had great fun, but at the end, he still did not become an entrepreneur, unfortunately, right? So, and within that call, I just could tell that it was so important for this guy. So I asked him if he's prepared to be committed. That I absolutely will. I will use my system. I think it will work as long as you're committed to become an entrepreneur. He said 100%. Yeah. Well, actually, he took time to think, and then he called me and said 100%. I'm just afraid to trust something after I already failed several times. I tried it all, but I will. I will give it a one last chance, and I will be committed. So guess what? We were working together, and midway through the program that I was working with him in, he had a major insight. I just remember it almost happened half through our session, and he was like, "Oh my God, I just had a major insight," and he came back then sharing next day that that's what he realized, that he was going wrong about it, and he figured out how he can go about being an entrepreneur in a new way. In his to cut long story short, in his story, it was actually to find a business that already worked and basically acquiring it. He
That's
had
awesome.
Yes, and actually within weeks, he already found several options. He put his offer, and by the time he finished working with me, his offer was accepted. He still was very scared that he was doing the wrong thing, But okay, we said we agreed the way forward. He continued. So 3 months after he finished working with me, he actually sent me another of my clients who we had a group together where we shared successes. He sent us the link to his website. His new venture was doing great. And then I had an interview with him where he shared that his venture will make a 1 million turnover by the end of the year. And this is still like a side hustle in a way, right? Because he still haven't even left his corporate job fully. He was taking steps out of it, but he still was there. So he shared 1 million in sales turnover already by the end of the year, and planning to double it, within the next time period. So that was amazing. And even in that interview, which is like months after he had his insight, I was talking to entrepreneur. That's the most amazing thing. He had this total identity shift, as I call it, from suffering corporate guy to entrepreneur. Different language, different numbers, different criteria for success, everything. So that was really amazing. I would say that was an amazing transformation I was part of, that I was witnessing, and I was very proud to be of help to him.
Yeah, that is amazing. That's an amazing success story right there. So, how can one get in touch with you, to work with you, Anna?
Well, it's easy. I have a website, annaurnova.com, easy to remember. And you can just, whoever is interested, men or maybe women have their husbands or brothers or I don't know, uncles in mind. Just the link there. And if you go www.annaurnova.com/free training, then there is a free masterclass, totally free, where I describe the symptoms of mid-career stuckness and crisis. Then I explain basically what maybe they're doing wrong, and then I take them through the 5 shifts, basically how to build the strategy. I share 3 case success stories of my clients, not this one, 3 different ones, but they actually help different types of men recognize themselves and apply the strategy. And if they gone through all that and they still have questions, if they qualify, if they're men in mid-career and they have 15 years of corporate track record, they can book a free call with me when I'll just look at their profile, at their case, and I will point them out in the right direction. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. All right, Chop Squad. Again, go to Anna's website. It's ANNAURNOVA.com. And so she can get you on the right track and so you can make that pivot. So Anna, as we come to a close, is there a nugget or two that you'd like to leave us with?
Absolutely. I believe men, women, whoever we are, one important thing I noticed is that somehow a lot of people, when they've had a successful first act, let's call it, I don't know, until our early 30s or mid 30s, right? And then something is not working out, or they get stuck, or maybe they derailed in their careers. Often people just keep doing what they were doing before, keep trying to do what they made them successful. In that, they actually stall the development. And then when it's not working, then they start kind of soldiering through, hoping to make it until, I don't know, retirement or something like that. And I think in all that, they kind of skip step the whole second act. They go from act 1 to straight to kind of retirement and act 3. And I believe in our generations and hopefully generations to come, act 2 could be spectacular, right? But you need to pivot. You just need to accept that no path will take you through the whole of your career, that there will be several trajectories. And when things not going, as you expect them to go, all it means you need to change your trains in a way, right? So don't try to sit on a train that's not going anywhere and pretending it's going, right? You just miss out. Yeah, I like this metaphor. Like, just say, hey, I have a chance for a new train now. Okay, go to the new train, and don't expect that go for another 30 years, because it may be 15, but then maybe another train. But every new train will be a new opportunity for fun. You will have a lot of tools available. You will need to learn maybe something, but you will also be able to utilize your old skills, and you will meet new people. And the more you kind of seeing it as part of our new normal, the more successful you're going to be at pivoting. Pivoting, in fact, is one of the key competencies we all should develop, and also teach others to develop.
Awesome. Thanks again, Anna. Really appreciate you bringing down the chop today. And folks, make sure that you go to our website again, annaurnova.com, and, really plug into what she's talking about so you can get to the next level. And not just necessarily next level, but purpose aligned is to use your words, Anna. Yes.
Absolutely. Which always takes you to another level. It usually increases your fun, your impact, and your income. So yeah, it's a win-win.
Absolutely. Okay. So you guys take care, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you for listening to The Business Chop. We hope that you were able to glean valuable information from our guest, and that you will download and share this podcast. Your rating and review is much appreciated. To go deeper with our guests, please visit their website and social channels. To learn more about us, please visit businesschop.info or altogether.biz, where we will help you expand your brand.